Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the SAP, the Sex Actually podcast. As always, it is your host, Dave Neal, your other host, Tasha Courtney, and our guest today, Lindsay Manfredi. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Right before we got on air, we were just talking about all the weight gains and losses we've had. Because I've gained probably 50 pounds. I've lost probably 40. I've gained 50 and lost 40. Like, I've had 3 diets throughout this pandemic. There should be an award for that.
So you didn't gain 50 all at once. You, like, gained 15, gained 15 more, gained 20 more, and lost them all again.
I don't know if we don't weigh ourselves, but I can see it. Like, we just went away for 15 days. I came back just this back fat I never had in my 20s. Right. What the fuck's back fat?
I'm lucky in that my measurements never really change, but my firmness does, if that makes sense. Totally. Like, there's like a yoga body that's like got muscles, and then there's like a really soft body that I'm rocking right now.
I'm like in the middle right now, trying to get back to getting a little
What's
harder.
your biggest vice?
What do you mean?
Like food-wise?
Food-wise?
What's the issue?
It's not that. I think it's alcohol.
Oh, alcohol, yeah.
Yeah, because food I eat super healthy for the most part. I mean, every once in a while I'll have some pizza or something with friends, but
you know,
for the most part, like, seriously, it's got to be wine.
Oh, yeah, well, that's all sugar, right?
Right.
I was going to pop wine tonight. I didn't bring any out. I'm sorry. We usually have alcohol here. Yeah, we need to. We had a neighbor just give us wine a few episodes ago. If he shows up again with wine, that would be nice.
Let's manifest that right now.
Now, but you're in the rock world. You're gonna have to like correct me if I mislabel your badassness. But you're several bands. You just wrote a book. We're gonna try to talk about as much of it as possible. But you're supposed to have vices. That's what rock's all about, right?
Yeah, it keeps me young.
So so having wine, that's the least edgy vice a rock star can have.
Right. Well, I mean, lately I've been switching it to actually, this is funny, I've been drinking more vodka and water and White Claw.
That's a good, yeah.
Because I've noticed that if I do drink a couple of those, I'm not feeling so pudgy the next day.
Getcha.
They
really do. They're strong.
4 of those and you're like, oh.
Oh my! Well, Tasha just got back into the drinking world. Helicopter overhead.
Yeah.
How are you? People don't know.
Literally right above us.
I guess I should mention we're podcasting from the roof. If people just think I'm being abducted, we're not. We're on the roof here, folks. It's a wildfire out here. Tasha just started drinking again because of the meds she's on for her Lyme disease, and I think she had like 40% of one Bud Light seltzer, and you were like feeling
loopy. So, I mean, it really hit me. And what did we have the other day? It was one of those hard seltzer things. I don't remember what brand, but
it was like a vegan seltzer.
You know, I looked at it and it must have been like 6 or 7% alcohol. It was like really strong. What was it?
I don't know. We found that in Michigan, I think, right? But like those
the
things
Midwest will get you.
The Midwest will get you. Speaking of which, we met in Indianapolis, Indiana, and then I texted you the other day, or like a few weeks ago, I was like, let me know when you're in LA. You're like, I am. I've been here. It's like, oh, get on the podcast. Can you believe it's been like half a decade since we met? It's been like 5 years.
That's crazy.
That's insane, right?
Yeah, those are when I used to work for Crackers Comedy Club. That was fun. Good times, but
now
we move on.
That was I'm trying to think. That was about 5 years ago. And are you from Indiana? Is that where you're from?
Yes.
What's it like getting out to the West Coast here? Because I'm sure you've obviously been touring around and all that. But how's the transition to LA been?
Well, I've been in California for 4 years now. I literally moved here 4 years ago, like probably today.
Oh, happy anniversary.
It's definitely a 4-year anniversary. So I had originally moved to Venice and then Hollywood, then to Temecula, then Fallbrook, then Tour, then Fallbrook, and then back up to LA. So I was originally going to come back to LA after this year of touring. I'm just here a couple months earlier than what I had intended.
What's the touring like? Is it like the quintessential, you're living out of your van? Because I know nothing other than what I've watched on the show Nashville. I feel like that's all I know about musicians.
Well, I've been in bands that, we've lived out of a van and hotel rooms, but now I'm in a band that we actually have a tour bus, which is nice.
Amazing.
And it's my favorite thing to do, really.
Now,
do you have like the bunk style beds?
Yeah.
Is it exciting? I mean, is it a lot of fun or is it kind of annoying? Do you get like tired of each other?
No, I love it. I was born for the road though, and music is everything to me, so that it just makes sense. And me not being on the road right now drives me crazy. Like I'm bored.
Antsy.
I'm like, I don't know what to do. Trying to do some studio work and work with other people, which I am now. But yeah, we're hoping our tour manager or our booking agent is routing something right now, I think, for February. So if everybody can just keep their shit together and get rid of this virus.
Yeah, shut up and wear a mask.
I know, just wear a fucking
Isn't it crazy, though, that some of the best nights you'll ever remember or not remember are like in a dark basement, you know, at a rock show, sweaty.
I miss it. I miss the sweat. I miss the
smell of old beer.
Yes, I really do.
Chick who doesn't have deodorant on because she's like living the free life, and
that's usually me.
You're standing right behind her. The funniest thing, we went to a concert. We went to the Greek Theater to see Sugarland, right? Sugarland, is that what we saw? And there was just some chicks behind us that must have gotten free tickets, right? They were just like teenagers. Tasha couldn't.
No, they weren't teenagers. They were like mid-30s.
They felt like teenagers.
These were full-grown women, but they were smashed and being so loud, like shouting. You know, you're seated 1 foot from the person next to you, and there were two, like it was these two girls and then like two dudes next to each other. So obviously they're chatting, but it was basically screaming into the back of my ear. We got even moved seats.
Yeah,
it made the experience.
Everyone around them moved, and it's like when you're that loud and obnoxious at like a concert, you've got issues.
Yeah, this is a listening experience.
But it's not like we're not like listening to poetry. Like it should be loud enough that we shouldn't have to hear you.
1000%.
So like, what type of venues were you guys playing? Just like your standard, just rock venues, or?
Yeah, I like the Vogue, which was right. We played the Vogue, which was right next to the comedy club that you played at.
I would have no idea. I had no clue that Indianapolis had like such a cool sort of hippie vibe to it.
Yeah,
have you been there before,
Tasha?
Yeah,
Good rock scene.
absolutely.
Broad Ripple was the name of the area, right? That's all I know. It's my only like 2 days that I've ever been there, but yeah, it's a really cool spot. Like,
yeah,
really cool
it is. We played the Viper Room 2 nights in a row. We sold that out. The Machine Shop, just those kind of venues. I'm not good at like knowing what the number capacity of a place is. But that's the kind of venues we would play. In
stand-up, you have to know how many tickets have been sold because they kind of, but they'll rob you. The owners will be like, they'll be like, it's a sold-out crowd. They'll be like, actually, we only sold 70 tickets. We had to give away the rest, and then you have to be like, okay, well, it looks sold out to me. And then
that's a rough industry to be in, stand-up comedy. Like that's the one thing that I would love to do sometimes, because sometimes I think I'm really fucking funny. Oh, can I say it, the F word?
You can say the F word.
Say whatever you want.
We're actually a Christian podcast.
I was on a Christian podcast recently. It's called Bad Christian, though, and it was the like singer and a guitarist for Emery. It was such a fun podcast.
Do they sing Christian music?
No, I don't think so. They're kind of a super hard rock band.
We were just traveling when we were driving through the Midwest. Why is it that Christian radio like Christian rock always has the clearest signal when you're traveling? You ever notice that?
It's like in the 80s and the 90s.
You'll be driving somewhere and not a single other channel will come through except for somebody trying to strike the fear of God into your heart.
Yeah, you're just worst. It's like a love lifts us, and you're like, what is this? What's going on? I don't know.
I turn it off immediately.
It's just always it's like God has better broadband or whatever. God has a good transmitter.
I grew up listening to that like every time we would go to Ohio because my family's from Ohio, and we would that was a rough time, but they would always have the preaching on. Now
Neal
Diamond.
I already got in trouble from our trip home trying to convince my parents to be a little bit more open-minded towards even a centrist idea. I mean, they're really leaning hard onto the right now. And but I appreciate, and I noticed that you had posted something political on your Facebook, and it seems to be when you have a following that the one thing people can say to like piss you off is like, I can no longer support you. You had a few dudes that were like,
I had a lot of people, and
who cares?
I thought it was like,
please leave by.
Sleep over you. And a lot of our fans, I mean, that had hundreds and hundreds of comments. But I was also like,
you went
unfriend me now, go fuck yourself.
I'm like trying to read the subtext to this.
I was so mad because I just wrote this book and I have to use the U.S. Postal Service for everything. So when people order books from me, people are paying for a product and I'm delivering it, and it's a thing. So when the Postal Service is in bed with the fucking president, and I also just moved back, and it was that crazy heat wave, and I don't know if you guys were here or if you were on the East Coast for that.
Here, yeah.
But my apartment doesn't have air conditioning. So I was just pissed.
Hey, you don't have
I was angry.
Yeah.
And I was just like,
uncomfortable.
I was uncomfortable. I was angry. I was definitely a little drunk. I saw this
You had
post,
a White Claw.
and it was just like, you know what? If you guys are going to vote for this piece of shit, go fuck yourself and unfriend me. And that's not the message that I'm at all trying to put out, because my book is truly about love and coming together and just like becoming a better person for yourself. But I just get angry. So I have been consciously over the last 2 weeks not posting anything politically. As far as fans, though, who don't want to support us, we don't care. It's just like we're all kind of pretty much on the same page when it comes to.
Isn't rock supposed to be like sort of pushing the envelope and this and that? But now you got like dudes that are like, I can't stand your point of view. Tasha had this when she supported Bernie, you know, like 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah,
some guy goes,
every time I posted
not
anything
hot
pro
enough
Bernie, people would just, you know, send me shitty DMs.
It was 3 girls,
the
Tasha
worst.
and 2 of her friends. On their butt cheeks, they wrote Bernie, right? They're just Bernie.
A letter
it.
for each
And
cheek.
the guy goes, not hot enough to follow your political or whatever it was. And it was like, excuse me? Like, this is Instagram here. We're not trying to like, you know. It's,
I don't know is it a white dude thing? Because when like my press release came out, and like I have a picture of myself holding the book, and
let me hold the book.
Blabbermouth had picked it up and they did a whole like release with it, and they said the meanest things, like she looks like she cries when Starbucks runs out of almond milk.
The people just ran.
I fucking okay. First off,
I absolutely would.
I
be
don't
very upset.
like almond milk at all. I hate almond milk.
Yeah, I hate it. It
I
doesn't
do
blend
rice
well.
milk
We had
and real milk.
I had to get almond milk today because they didn't have. I like coconut milk. If you haven't tried coconut milk,
I love coconut milk
milk's
too,
good.
and that's for cereal. But in my coffee in the morning, collagen protein, a little bit of ghee, and real milk because it cuts the acidity.
Oh, we just did some collagen ourselves. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're trying to hang on.
I have a whole routine every morning: lemon water, my coffee thing, and then
there you go.
That lemon water is very good for you.
The most important thing. It's the first thing you should put in your body every day, and I do.
No, just
if I didn't have to cut the lemons, maybe that could help me.
Well, just cut it in half, and then do the lemon squeezer. And then boom, boom, it's just one cut, and then you both have lemon water. It's
there you
that
go.
Easy. It's like one lemon per morning.
One more thing for you to do for me in the morning.
I just want a place where I have a lemon tree. That's all I want is a tree that produces fruit. And for everyone who's watching on YouTube, we don't have a stray animal who just joined the set. That is Boone the Basset Hound. He is. If you're listening, this doesn't apply to you, but I like to announce when Boone makes his way to the set. Boone is here joining us. He's nice and quiet. So your book's called Unfuckwithable. Mm-hmm. Unfuckwithable. Unfuckwithable. I like that. A guide to inspired badassery, and then on the back you got you playing the bass here, looking bad. Yeah, that's it. That's badassery right there. Now, so who was giving you negative comments? Just random people.
Just random, probably middle-aged white guys. Telling me my band sucks. And it's, okay.
It's like, why are you following me then?
Why are you reading? And what's your comment about? And said I'd fuck her. Like, really? I can sleep better at night now. Thank you. Somebody said I missed my calling as a librarian.
There you go.
Just so
honestly,
mean things.
You got to try a little harder with that.
But people are so mean, and it's like, why? I mean, what?
But
it's the anonymity of the internet that makes people, even when people are using their real names, like not saying, nobody would ever say any of this stuff to your face, but it's the distance between you that makes people feel safe. Just being rude. I don't know. Everybody's gotten so fucking angry and rude lately that it's just, it's toxic, and it breeds more toxicity. I stumbled upon this thread the other day. From Twitter, this lady Gabrielle Blair at Design Mom, and I think she's pretty big because then a few days later I saw something else from Design Mom. But anyway, she was going off, and towards the bottom of this thread, she said she was just talking about how much she hates Trump supporters.
Hey, folks, don't leave the podcast. We'll get to you. Hold on.
She said, another consequence of your actions. I have a deep desire to withhold my community and my creations from you. Instagram has data that could tell me exactly which of you support Trump. I wish they would give me that data. I would block every single one of you. My Instagram followers request access to my life daily. Voting for Trump, and you want to know the source for my daughter's dress? No. You want to know the paint color we chose for the attic renovation? No. You want to participate in a parenting discussion on Design Mom? No. I want to shun you from my community. If gatherings were safely happening, I want you to be shunned from all events hosted by decent people. No wedding invitations, no conference tickets, no backyard barbecues. I want decent event hosts to send you a card explaining you are not invited because you are a Trump supporter. I wish IKEA and Target wouldn't let you buy their products.
Jeez.
I wish your internet provider, who for sure knows you vote Trump, would cut you off as a customer. I want to see you shunned by every person and organization that doesn't support Trump. No more access to their books, movies, products, music, events, artists, and influencers till you are left with nothing but Smash Mouth concerts and Ben Shapiro talking about his sex life. Some of you will tell me I have no choice, that you're a single issue voter, and that your single issue is abortion, so you can only vote for an anti-abortion candidate, and I will respond, the Republicans are making a fool of you. And it goes on and on.
I think Tasha wants to join your bands now. She can be the...
But it's interesting to me that, like, you know, let's be real. You've been brainwashed. You got hoodwinked, and now you're brainwashed, and you're in so deep that you just, like, feel like you got to keep going with it. But all the rest of us sane people just want you to stop.
Yeah, that's what my blog post was about a couple weeks ago. Like, I just lost my shit. And just, I just lost it. And I was like, anyway, that's why.
Well, the idea, and we don't need to spend much time on this because it's hard not to, but we always get into these political talks, and not that we have there's nothing to debate here. But the idea that it's like some coastal elite, thing. You're from the Midwest. Tasha's from the Midwest. I'm from just a sort of a suburban New England town. There's no like crazy sort of, elitist vibe to it,
Not at all.
But I also see, I don't even hate on people that vote Trump, because I truly do think that people's media is so, like, there's a full generation of people that just cannot critically think, and they're just going to live off of fear, and they're so easily manipulated, and they're just going to have to be aged out of the voting pool.
But, we have a friend who shall remain anonymous while we say this, but we brought this up at a party a few years ago. It had to have been pre-2016 because we were all talking about the election.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
And he said there should be an IQ requirement to be allowed to vote. And I gasped, and I said, oh, but that's un-American. We all deserve the right to vote. But the more this goes on, the more I feel like maybe there should be
some kind of questionnaire. Like do you think?
Yeah, if you can't even decipher which, like, meme is fake news.
But people I think have gotten so lazy, and I mean, it's sad. And I feel like as a responsible adult who does critically think and does read all different news sources, and I go and ask people, and I care. Like my parents' generation, they don't care. They're just like, oh, Republican, Christian, whatever. And it's like, you can put as much stuff in their face. Like, this is truth. Like, this is stuff that's really happening. And I'm not even a leftist. Like, I've voted Republican before. But
I'm all on Marianne Williamson's new party.
This is just like human decency right now. There's been so much treason happening in front of all of our faces, and it just blows me away. The people and blatant, like, misogyny and sexism and all of this stuff in it. Why?
I quit on her thread, but that's what she gets to, is basically like, if you can't support, just normal human decency, you said, human decency, then I don't need you as a follower, and I don't need you as a supporter, and I would happily see you go. I would happily block you. And I thought she made some really valid points that, it's hard enough when you're like living your life sort of online or in the public, and even people who aren't influencers, who aren't celebrities, we're all online these days. We're all posting. People have, strangers especially, have access to the majority of us, I would say.
Absolutely.
And, I don't know. It's an interesting thing.
Well, it's not necessarily a new thing. We've got the Chicks, I think is what their name is, the Dixie Chicks. I think they're called the Chicks now, right? Is that right?
Did they really change their name?
I'm pretty sure that Dixie became racist. I'm not going to get into all that. You know what I mean? Like Lady Antebellum is Lady A, but there's already a Lady A, and there's everything trying to just shuffle around.
And we have Ryan Reynolds apologizing.
Oh,
for
yeah, you got married in a plantation.
Can we stop being so sensitive and stop being so, like, everything doesn't have to be politically correct? Can we just... live our lives.
There's got to be a segment. There's a segment of people that know when the pendulum has swung too far, but it doesn't mean they're conservative. There's a group of people, and when we try to all be defined in this binary way, it's impossible, you know. But yeah, the Dixie Chicks, they said what, like, fuck Bush. They were in Europe on a European tour. Next thing you know, they're getting, you know, back then, you know, you were blacklisted. You know, if the radio stations didn't play you, you were done. And for a while there, they just killed their careers, right?
Yeah. I mean, guys, yeah, same thing happened. Like Sinead O'Connor killed her career when she took a political stand against the Pope. Yeah.
That's wild. That
was so long ago.
I remember it.
Wow, the world seems so different.
This is why, like, comics can handle the bullshit. Like Bill Burr was on.
I love Bill.
Love him,
Burr.
right? And he's so logical. So he was on a morning talk show thing, you know, making fun of the Catholics and all this, Catholic priests. And then the talk show host goes, "Don't you think you've gone a little too far?" And then Bill Burr goes, "Don't you think the Catholic Church has gone a little too far?"
Right?
And it's like, yeah,
1,000%.
If we're gonna be throwing, you know, bows, let's just have at it. But there is this like moral thing with media where it's like, no, we're like above this, and it's like we're all basically savages in our own way. Rock does a good job of just letting that out, but all of us, the whole world has been like putting their necktie on and trotting to work, and now that shit's done. You know?
Yeah, we are really back to our like most base sort of like.
I saw a naked guy getting arrested like an hour and a half ago. I literally switched to the lane so I could get closer for the drive-by. These cops, and this is when you talk about defunding the cops. What you really mean is not having cops have to deal with this. Like this was for sure a mental health expert's job, not a cop's job. But the cops are like putting on the gloves like they were going to give this guy a prostate exam, and like they've got to go from this naked dude to, you know, whatever the next call is. And I'm like, he ain't paying me enough to do that. No way. I don't know what this guy's on. I don't want anything to do with it. But yeah, the world's going a little mad, but I wonder if we're also just kind of like, you know, going back to the mean of just like we're kind of we've just been barbarians up until a recent history. And you take this little
like barbarians in
away.
A suit, like barely held together by a thread, you know, just like barely hanging on.
Yeah,
and
like,
now all hell's broken loose.
Right, you got like that like imagery of like a dad who's just biting his tongue and then his coffee spills and he's like, fucking
loses his shit. It's like, yeah, the straw that fucking breaks the camel's back.
Yeah,
for sure.
And you were talking about before we got on air about doing yoga and trying to maintain your sanity, while the one thing you figured out that's like how you like to burn off your energy is traveling and performing, and this has put a damper on that. So like how has it changed your dating life, your just overall mental health, and what have you done to sort of, you know, bring that back into your control?
Nothing. I haven't done anything. So I'm not dating anybody. I was kind of seeing somebody, and I was coming up to Los Angeles a lot because I liked somebody, but he didn't feel the same way. So I'm like, oh, okay. And so then the quarantine happened, and I was supposed to leave for tour literally like 2 days before. I was supposed to go to the East Coast on March 17th. Gavin Newsom shut everything down on the 15th. I cried. I cried hard.
Yeah.
And at that time, like my roommates, my like interim between tours place that I was staying, his girlfriend had started moving her things in, and her son.
Preparing for you to go.
Preparing for me to leave. So I really was homeless then. So my friend who I do the cold candles with, and her fiance is Gino Leonardo from Filter. And we were working on music over the last year, and we've been working on candles. So I just quarantined on the farm. But that was like something I was like, I'm going to be here for a month, maybe 2. And then 5 months later, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like,
no one has enough underwear for this.
No, but I literally had moved all my stuff over to the farm, like the stuff that I have on the West Coast. And they're sick of me, but I had work to do because I was doing the candles, and then I got to put out the book because I was supposed to do all the editing for this while I was on the road, which never would have happened. It's just that doesn't happen when you're on a tour bus. You can try to be outside of that rock world, but no. You're sleeping or you're with fans or you're getting fucked up or you're playing music. So that happened. That's what I did, but still not dating. It's just, it's weird. I don't even.
How would you meet guys before the pandemic? Are you dating? Does the band date? How does this work?
Well,
What's the rules?
I'm the only single one of the band. So we've got two married people and two people who have been have kids, like 13-year-olds and 6 and 7-year-olds. So I'm the only one who is single, and I'm the only girl.
I was gonna say,
I'm the only female, so I'm the only one. Everybody else. So I don't know. I'm not on any kind of dating app because I can't be on Tinder. Somebody can't be like, oh my God, the bass player for Cold is on Tinder. Like, that doesn't work in my world. So I just have to like organically meet people or be set up with someone or meet somebody who does what I do. Because it's also really hard to date because I am on the road and I am a high profile kind of
You should
person.
get on Raya.
What's that?
That's a celebrity dating app.
Oh, well.
You have to get like referred to be on it.
It's all like chicks and chefs. It's a bunch of dudes who cook. I think that's what they want.
I mean, I wouldn't be mad about that.
Yeah, I know.
I like to eat.
Yeah.
I mean, because the imagery of men in the rock world is they're getting blown, they're living this lifestyle, you know.
The band is so much more boring. I mean, back in the day before I was in the band, I'm sure that was I've heard stories.
But are women getting propositioned? Like imagine if the roles were reversed and some dude's like, let me into that back room, I'll eat you out. Like, let me in. What do I need to do?
I'm going to say this last tour that I was on, I think maybe twice, I got hit on, and I feel like the guys were just drunk enough to hit on me, but I'm so particular about who I date. I don't just date people. You absolutely have to have your shit together. You have to be doing something creative, not just trying to get laid.
Random hookup.
I'm just not about that. And I don't know if it's because I'm in my 40s now.
Are you? Wow.
Yeah. I just turned 42.
You got that lemon water skin.
Girl, that's right. I've been doing that shit for like 20 years.
You look like a farm hand 25. You don't look at
I party hard though. I don't know.
42. That's a great year.
But I think the rock and roll is it keeps you young. I mean, I stay creative and I stay active and I do work out 5 days a week at least.
But isn't that the truth? It keeps you young. You're doing what you love.
I do what I love.
Imagine, putting, you're 42, so imagine putting 20 plus years in a world where you're just working in a cubicle. You're just renting out that Ford Fiesta at Thrifty.
Or a world where you're unhappy. Because I do believe that unhappiness, not feeling creatively fulfilled, I guess would be like more what I'm going for. It wears on you. It wears and tears your body.
Versus the people that just continuously pull at their creativity, like a Betty White, and just people that can live a long life. It's very sharp because they keep challenging their mind and all that. So yeah. So how old were you? Because obviously coming from the Midwest, you're probably not just immediately exposed to like, I'm gonna be in a rock band. Like, what age did you kind of think that this is something you might be able to do?
Well, as soon as I heard Nirvana and Pearl Jam, I mean, but I always knew. So when I was a little girl, listening to Debbie Gibson in the 3rd grade, like out of the blue, love appeared before my eyes with you. I wanted to do that. I wanted to be on stage. I wanted to sing. And I didn't even start thinking about playing an instrument until I was about 16, 17, when I started watching Courtney Love and Hole. And then the Cranberries and all of these, PJ Harvey. I mean, the list goes on and on. Kim Deal. Like, all of these people were playing music, and that's what I wanted to do. So I started playing my dad's guitar and just started writing my own music.
Oh, so your dad played guitar.
So my dad played guitar, but, I mean, like, he had the same guitar that he had when he was in, I was like an Alvarez classical guitar, and he had this Mel Bay book that didn't even have, like, the cover on it anymore. It was all torn up, but I just learned how to play, like, C, D, F, G. Wrote my first song when I was like 16 or 17.
And were they supportive, or like could they wrap their head around this being something you wanted?
No, not really, but I never had like a normal life because they were so Christian, and like I was raised in a very Bible thumping home and church all the time. So I was the rebel. So I literally, most of my high school life, I was in juvenile detention because I would run away. I would go to concerts. I would smoke weed. I would just do anything that I could to like have some kind of freedom.
I think you guys could be like soul sisters coming over here. What part of Ohio are you from?
Well, my family's from Findlay, but I'm from a little town called Kokomo, Indiana, which is about 30 miles north of Indianapolis.
Okay. Yeah.
So I like learned how to become I didn't go to college, so I was like, I'm going to play music. I'm going to be a body piercer. So I did an apprenticeship and I became a body piercer and had dreadlocks and moved to Florida to play music and started a band. So I didn't have like a normal life. I didn't even start college.
So the dreadlocks, you like that is your one-way ticket to Florida. I think a white chick getting dreadlocks. Dude, and you go to.
I mean, but I was in a rock band. But I have always moved across the country. Like I sold a car or I traded in my car. I had like a Grand Prix Sport little white cute super cute car, and traded it in for a van and like packed up all my gear. And just went to Florida and stayed at somebody's house for months until I got a job. And
it's really just about like following your passion and like following the path as it's laid out in front of you. Those breadcrumbs that we always talk about.
Taking chances, saying fuck it, let's just do it.
Sort of the same as like, how do you handle quarantine best? Well, don't try and control it. Just go with the flow.
Yeah, be as safe as you can.
Yeah, we were talking about. Well, first of all, the idea that it used to be the idea that if you played it safe, you'd be rewarded. And the pandemic and the last recession, and we're just constantly shown like, what does it get you to play it safe? Healthcare. Oh, okay, yeah. Even if you have healthcare, you get the wrong type of, you're done. You're done. There's no playing it safe. You find a way to make what you want to do your reality. And everything else will kind of like transpire around it. Now, you had mentioned, we haven't read your book, Unfuckwithable, but you had mentioned Wayne Dyer in here. So what's your Wayne Dyer sort of experience? Because he's in my soul.
Well, everything. I mean, I believe in manifestation, and I believe in like Dr. Joe Dispenza. I'm like super into quantum physics. So when I meditate on a daily basis, like I really have to get that vibration around me and see it and feel it. And I just know that things are going to work out, and I'm not worried about it. Like, I moved here. I don't have a job. I'm just selling my book. I'm doing the best I can. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen with anything.
It sounds crazy.
But I'm okay.
Yeah, you're okay. And when you have a growth mindset, when you're just able to roll with it, my favorite saying is leap and the net will appear. When you can have that chance to just take that leap, you realize that things do work out. Now, it might not be the direction that you wanted, but if you just like accept the gifts that kind of come from deciding to do something new or pursue your dreams, you will be presented with opportunities. Now, assuming you're not sitting on your ass.
Right.
But if
you
have
to do it also. Yeah, you've got to definitely put
Marianne Williamson, we were reading her book back when we saw her in the first debate. Ooh, that girl lights me up.
Talking about aging well. She's like in her mid to late 60s.
Yeah, she looks great.
Yeah.
But she said something in her book that really stuck with me. And it said, like, imagine that the world is conspiring for everything to work out in your favor.
1,000% it is.
Yeah.
It really is. The universe gives us everything in abundance.
And this,
just tapping into it, and it's having the mindset to tap into it and not coming from a lack perspective.
Do you have any, sorry to interrupt, Dave, do you have any like manifestation tips? Because I'm just recently starting to get into manifesting again. We've talked about this a couple of times on the podcast, that I really felt like I was super in tune back in like the days of The Secret, so a long time ago. And like when I was living in New York over a decade ago, I felt really in tune, but LA kind of wiped that from me. So here I am building this practice from scratch again. And I was looking for like a manifestation workbook. Didn't really find what I was looking for, but we did pick up some books that we're working through. But I also downloaded Headspace, the meditation app. And I was just wondering, like, do you have any tips for getting into like a meditative practice?
Yes, I do. I use Insight Timer, which it's a free app also. But the biggest thing, and if you haven't read any of Dr. Joe Dispenza, you need to. Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself is one of the first ones that I read. Currently in the middle of reading Becoming Supernatural. But he really talks about how in manifesting, it's like if you think about how when you place an order online, and I just saw this yesterday from like my source message shit that, I get on Instagram because I'm like love to go through and see positive things. But it's like we see something online, we place our order, And then we just know that in 3 to 5, sometimes 2 weeks, it's going to come to us. That's just kind of how it is.
You expect it's going to arrive unless you're like ordering it from China.
We're not worried about the manufacturing codes. We just know it's going to show up or our money back.
And we don't know. And so one of the things I always say to myself, like, what's meant for me is not going to pass me by. You can't lose anything that's good for you. So when people or things go out of my life or come into my life, I'm just like, it's just really about being okay, but having like a clear vision on what you want. So yeah, I know I don't want to be single forever. I know what the guy that I would like looks like. And so I've kind of put that in the universe. So I'm just working on myself right now. Because I still, like, I'm not exactly the way, like, where I need to be. I'm a little mad sometimes and a little crazy. And I don't know. It just is what it is. But I think that the main thing is the clear vision and then feeling it, like, knowing that it's already there. Like, thank you. Thank you, universe, for giving me what I've always wanted. And then you just kind of have this, like, calm and peace because you've already received it. And your body doesn't like know the difference between not receiving it because you're feeling it. And that's really kind of what Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about a lot, is that feeling. And that's when it can come to you and you don't know how. And it's usually something way better than what you expected.
Our friend of the podcast, Erica Warnick, she always quotes him as like someone that just resonates with her that when she's on the show. And there's when you talk about having a vision, that's the most important thing because you need to be very clear with what you tell the world that you want. I've just like Tasha I had fool's luck when I was new into the industry, and you know every comic is trying to tap into that confidence they had their first year, you know, and we were just garbage. But having the vision and not this, you know, because cynicism is the death of everything. The second you're in it's so easy when you have a friend that, my buddy Channing, I'll complain to him a lot. And it's like, I don't want to be the guy who complains, but like, he's like my therapy guy. I can just like complain about shit. And I have to remember, okay, it's all right if you have like a new thing to like get off your chest, but you know, we've had Petra Kolber on who wrote the Perfection Detox, and she talks about ruminating and how the brain just wants to
words and thoughts are such powerful things.
Absolutely.
And we get
what
these
you
ruts.
focus on expands.
Yeah, so
always.
it's so hard. Now, like, how do you stop yourself? We talked about this recently about stopping yourself from spiraling out of control. How do you stop it when you know it's there and get back onto that right path?
It's called the pivot. You just recognize it, honor it. Like, okay, I'm being a dick. What I focus on expands. What do I want? And it's just asking yourself the questions and like literally taking a moment and saying, fuck off, manage your life, get back on it. What do I want? And then thank the universe for allowing you to move on and having that experience, because and then it gets better and faster. Because I was a mess a couple weeks ago. I was in bed for 2 days. I was crying. Like, everybody's checking up on me. And I'm like, why did I move to LA? This is a bad idea. What am I doing? And then I just had kind of a come to Jesus. I was just like, what? This is all, I'm always want to be here, like all the time. Like when I was a little girl, all I wanted to do was be in LA. And I'm always like, I'm a Midwest girl living her California dreams, because my entire life, my goal was to get out to LA. And then I was like living on a farm, and yeah, I was busy, but there wasn't music. Was no life there. I was just like bored.
Tasha wants to live on this farm. She's like, give me a goat. She
Sign me up for the farm.
I know. Well, the farm is great, but that's like, I am a city girl and all my friends are here. I just needed to be here.
Yeah.
But it's a pivot. And also it happens. You're going to go back and forth. Maybe you're going to be like PMS. I notice that I get a little bit more weepy and emotional when I'm about to start. And I get a little bit more cynical and angry. And when I'm super hot. when it's 100 degrees in Los Angeles.
How do you?
It's happening this weekend again too.
This is a question
I'm not gonna be here. I'm going down south for sure.
It's a question for both of you, I guess. But like, how do you proactively deal with the hormones of every month, kind of having this like self-sabotage? Not necessarily like, I don't even mean it in a negative way.
It kind of is self-sabotage sometimes.
So it seems like it's a lot.
It is a lot. There are actually books and guides out there for like naturally going with your flow. Like the first week of your cycle, you're supposed to create, or I don't know. I really don't know. But if you look it up online, Google does. So, you know, like week 1 is supposed to be like your rest week. Week 2 is your creative week. Week 3 is your energy week. Week 4, I don't know. But like you can time your life to be like tackling creative projects at the right time if you want. And then like taking it easy on weeks when you're supposed to take it easy. But I don't know. We live in a modern world, so that might not be very practical.
I feel like I've been taking it easy a lot lately.
And I'm still mad.
I mean, do you have times
I'm taking a lot of me days.
Do you have times when you got like to perform? Like, what do you do? How do you get yourself into the mood when you're just not feeling it? You know, because I'm sure there's a lot of highs performing, but there's got to be nights when you got to deliver when you're just not really there.
Well, yeah. Well, last night I sat down and I was working on a song for a hip hop artist, but then I stopped and started writing a blog post. So I don't know. I'm kind of all over the board right now. Like sometimes I can do it, and then I'll have nights where I'm just like, I'm gonna go over the cold list, like our set list that I was rehearsing before we got canceled. It's like, oh, I forgot how to play that song, so I have to like recall and like relearn everything.
Is this the longest you've gone without performing?
Yeah.
For a stretch, isn't it crazy the muscle memory? How I mean, you can just lose, because I mean, very different, but also I've done only like 1 or 2 shows like during this whole time, and I don't remember half the shit I wrote.
You forget your jokes.
I have friends that go, dude, that one you did about the thing, and I go, I don't know how that goes at all. They're like, what are you talking about? I was like, I know, I wrote it, it's just gone. I have to go find a video of it or something.
I've watched videos of myself performing songs because I'm like, oh wait, where does it go? And I can't find it because I learn by ear. So anyway, I'm starting to get a little bit better at it and being disciplined. But going through this transition from moving just in the last month, I've literally been here a month. I don't know, it's going to get easier, and it's starting to get easier. Yeah. It's getting cooler, so I'm not as angry.
Well, the fact that we just as a society think you're supposed to just roll with these emotions, like we just came across the country, and I told Tasha, I was like, this is going to be a tough one. You know, we've done like visiting our family and coming back, but we both had a real good time. I mean, we had Tasha became an ordained minister. She married our friends. That's killed fun. It. She killed it. She's doing it. She got the vows. She's off book. She's going. I mean, I was crying for her. I was like, this is amazing.
Aww,
it was amazing.
Thanks.
My family had a thing where we all got to see family. I haven't really gotten a chance to really see since like I've moved out here 6 years ago, just because like you catch them for a day or two, and it was so great. And I was just like, we have to be aware that we're going to come back to LA. There's going to be a lot of problems that we've forgot about, and we're just going to have to be like top of our game, like just ready to just absorb like the good, the new opportunities, because so many people are in similar positions where like the unemployment ran out, this ran out, that ran. I don't want my old job. I gave all of my old side jobs, like shirts and hoodies and everything. It's gone. It's going to charity. There's something new for me. I don't know what it is, but that's when it comes to leaping the net with the paper, I've leapt the clothes to the Goodwill. It's done. Something new will happen. And so I've created the space for it, and I don't know what it is. But all the time I'm showing Tasha, podcasts that are, more successful in the sense that they've got a bigger audience, and we've got a Patreon, a loyal following that kind of helps support us. And, we already do all the work, and now it's about like kind of getting it to a bigger level. And I know with music, it's the same way. It's like, you already wrote the song. Now it's just about getting everyone to appreciate it.
Right. And so, yeah. And just like with the book, I've sold hundreds of books, and I'm so grateful. But now I just hired a new publicist because I've done what I can do on my own. Like I need to go to a bigger level and just do more and those kind of things. Which, oh, by the way, one of my biggest dreams ever has been to be in Bass Player magazine, and I have a feature, 2-page feature coming out in September.
Yeah. Congratulations!
Yeah, that's a good one.
How exciting!
Yeah, and they're promoting the book, and I'm in it.
Like, girl, congrats. That's so awesome. That's one of those things where it's like, just worry about the what. Don't worry about the how. Don't worry about the why.
Do the work.
Focus on what you want.
So
don't worry about all the other superfluous stuff.
Right. So it's funny because one of the things that I don't even know if I put this in the book, but I tell this to everybody. Like life, there are 2 rules in life. One comes from the field of dreams and one comes from LL Cool J. Build it and they will come, and then doing it and doing it and doing it well. Like, so you just have to build whatever it is you're going to build and fucking do it well. Like, do what you can and, like, let life do its little chest.
I mean, it's really the world we live in. Like, with all the different places online where you can share your craft. Like, I've referenced this dude over and over, but there's a dude who's, like, building, like, a drone that you can sit in. Like, he's building a drone that just is you can fly yourself. He hasn't gotten the thing off the ground, but I'm like, man, and he's on TikTok, so he's got all these videos of him doing it. I'm like, you take that into MIT, you take that into somewhere, they're gonna appreciate that more than a resume.
I feel like I saw something like that in Mexico. So a couple years ago, I was in Mexico for a month. I was in Cabo and San Jose. There was a dude that like built his own little thing on the beach, and he was flying it and was getting up like 20 feet.
No shit.
Yeah.
Well, this is the world we live in.
But I don't know. Like, I don't think it was. I don't know what it was, but he built it and he was getting it up off the ground. It was impressive.
Like a drone, like 4 props or something.
Yeah. It was
wow.
Weird. It was so weird.
No, but I'm invested in people just building whatever it is they want and just figuring it out. I love that.
Speaking of drones, did you guys hear like 2 days ago
the jetpack guy?
What's
that was
that
literally
about?
the day that we landed at LAX. So I was like, was it our plane?
Well, okay, so I never heard anything else about it. Like, what was that? Is that actually a thing?
You know, I haven't clicked on any of the articles. I just laughed and scrolled on by.
Okay.
But somebody said they think it was actually a mannequin. Like someone strapped a jetpack to a mannequin. I don't know.
Hey, it's 2020.
That's just another headline that I saw. Maybe it was a mannequin. Don't know.
That's just funny. I mean, could you imagine like
the pilot? No, but it's dangerous.
That's
too.
A beautiful view right there.
Hey, look at that. That's the view.
We
do this every episode. We acknowledge the sunset. So I'm going to steal your lens here, and then I'm going to point it to the sunset here just for a second. But yeah, this is it. This is it.
So Los Angeles right there. It's
and it's extra beautiful because of the poor air quality today. I mean, it really is extra gorgeous. It's so red.
This battery just died. I think we lost this angle. We just let them roll until they die. But let me see if I have a battery for it. I don't think I do up here. I think I only have the other one. Anyway, we got the wide shot.
So you're not going to show them the beautiful sunset?
Well, I got a piece of it, and then the thing shut down.
Oh, okay.
It's tough producing and just sound ops and editing. It's a whole thing. I'm just very overwhelmed over here.
Wearing a lot of hats.
A lot of hats going on. But yeah, I mean, this is it, right? It's all about the vision. And a lot of people just don't know what the fuck they want to do with life. And I always just encourage them to just really think about what makes you happy. Because it might not be something like playing bass. It might be bringing people together, and so then you get into event planning and help you like to facilitate other people's dreams. I mean, everyone's different, but if you don't know what it is, now is the time to like really listen, because it's going to present itself to you over and over and over. So like, what is it that makes you feel good? That's the longevity that everyone's searching for.
Yeah, and that's what the book's all about. It's literally about finding what you love and making yourself unfuckwithable. So people aren't discouraging you like, oh, you can't do that. I mean, when I was growing up, my parents were discouraging of the rock industry. They're like, well, you have to know people. Well, I went out and met people. I never let that stop. And even when I was in bands in my 20s and 30s that weren't successful, I just never stopped. I would just start something new. And because of that, I'm now in my favorite band that I like loved. Seriously. So, but that's what Unfuckwithable that's what Unfuckwithable is about.
Yeah, it's being undeniable. Just like you said, doing it and doing it and doing it undeniably.
So
well, that's so exciting. Congratulations.
We need to inspire the world. We need to just make it better, make this world a better place. And
well, because just like what we were talking about at the beginning of this podcast, let's put a positive spin on it. All of that stuff, like we were talking about toxicity, just breeding more toxicity, and all of this fear and hate and anger, just breeding more fear and hate and anger. Like, wouldn't it be awesome if all of us could tap into this sort of like higher level of thinking, and all of us could know that we are provided for in abundance by the universe, that all of our wildest dreams can come true. You know, what a happy, beautiful, wonderful world that would be.
It would be great. And everybody would be helping each other, and there wouldn't be like, and I think that's what Dr. Wayne Dyer was going for in all of his books. And a lot of these spiritual teachers are, and I think that change begins in your backyard. So we have to do what we can do as individuals and the people around us and help elevate them to a different level also.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah, elevate each other. It's almost like the people that are willing to, in entertainment, the people that are willing to share the job listings with their other friends. My buddy Quincy Johnson, he always sends me like, hey, now's the time to apply for that grant. Hey, here, they're casting this thing. And it's like, that does not go unnoticed when you have people that support you. And also, like, I mean, you should never help somebody else out and expect them to help you back. Like, that's kind of my Catholic upbringing. Is like, let me help you out, but you owe me. But the idea is you'll want to help each other out because you kind of have the same best interests in mind, that there is enough for everybody.
Plenty, operating from that perspective of abundance. You don't have to worry. That's something that I really appreciated in New York. We must have talked about this recently. I very specifically remember meeting this one girl. I don't know who she was, but it was kind of right around the time that I was getting into The Secret. And I mean, I don't remember her name, but she was a model. She was from a much better agency than mine. And I was working with like two agencies at the time, like mid-tier agencies. And she was like, you got to go talk to my agent. They're going to love you. You got to go talk to my agent. She's a brunette. I'm a brunette. She's taller than we really looked similar. So like for her to refer me to her agency, knowing that we fall into the same category, like really was shocking to me, because my experience in the modeling world previously was sort of secretive and private, and people not wanting to share information, not wanting to share agencies, whatever, not wanting to share their what castings are going on today, whatever. But that experience with this one girl, I wish I could remember her name, totally changed my perspective. And from then on, it was like, oh my God, we can live in this world. And every time I met a new model, like a green girl fresh to New York, I was like, oh, go see my agents. This one's the worst agency, but they'll get you consistent bookings. This one's the middle agency. You'll probably book one a week with them. This one's the best agency. You might get one every 2 months or so, but like, that's where you'll earn big money. And like all of this giving, it translates to getting.
It truly does. It truly does.
This is why I loved Wayne Dyer so much. I started out 15 years ago reading The Secret, and then I read like some other got a little bit more spiritual, because I think The Secret was like, for me, like the coloring book of how it all works. But it's like you don't just put it on a vision board. There's a lot of action that has to take place. Like you have to envision it, but like open your eyes and go. Just start. Sorry, did you hear that?
Yeah.
We've got a Mexican radio station that sometimes kicks in here. I'm pretty sure this old building of ours used to just be like a Quinceañera dojo or something. I don't know. There's always something going on. Anyway, so I just loved that Wayne Dyer. Like I just bought his book, Manifest Your Destiny.
What the fuck is that creature from hell?
Is that a roach?
Dave, you got to take care of it.
You got to get it on
It
camera.
Was broadcasting to the aliens to come pick it up. Honey, this is not funny.
Hold on,
Please
I'm just
get
getting
it.
a video of it. Okay, I got the video. Now I'll
That
go
does
back.
look like a roach.
Well, it's a
The
roach.
roaches are huge in California.
Honey, it's getting closer.
It is getting closer.
You need to bat that shit off the roof.
All right.
Take your shoe off, honey.
I'm not gonna use the book.
Oh,
Don't
Jesus.
use the book.
It's going to take your shoe off. Kick it away. Kick it off the roof. Oh, boy. Sorry for our listeners. This is gross.
Bugs are gross, kids. Gross.
It's right over there.
It's upside down, though.
Just
it's not going
stomp on
anywhere.
it gently.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. Oh, there you go. All right. It's going to bake tomorrow in the sun.
All right, so
I think that we should kill it fastly.
Yeah.
So it doesn't like
So it's
have
humane.
a horrible,
well, it's
horrible
gonna
death.
live. It's alive. It's just I put it in a glass cup and I'll deal with it in a few minutes.
Alrighty. Sounds good.
That's a first on the rooftop. I mean, I'd rather see a roach on the rooftop.
My heart's racing. Yeah, better on the roof than in our house.
Tasha,
but
you acted like a mountain lion was about to attack us.
That's how I am with spiders. I mean, I'm freak out about spiders.
That was. It reminded me of
that was
Men in Black.
That was 2 inches long.
It was it seemed like a very smart roach. Like he was coming over here to investigate what was going on, and I just didn't want him anywhere near us.
Well, we've been watching that show Alone where they have to eat animals. If I was like trying to win $1 million on an island, I would have to eat that roach. that roach has protein on it. That thing had like an exoskeleton.
If you were on Naked and Afraid,
that's it.
You'd be eating bugs. That's why I will not go on a show like that.
No, thanks. Count me out.
So speaking, we gotta tell you about this show. I just bought a TV off of my buddy. He moved to Texas.
He's gonna listen to this and he's gonna boot us off all of his apps that he left on the TV.
This is my buddy Darren. We got a 65-inch TV. He left us the holy grail. This is like Pandemic 2.0. He left us the holy grail of apps.
Because we don't have cable. We've always just had Netflix, Hulu, Showtime, Stars, HBO, the main ones, but never regular cable. But we've been wanting to watch this show called Renovation Island. I don't even know where I heard about it.
Well, we watched the first episode for free before we had the HGTV subscription.
And now we have HGTV, and boy, we're powering through Renovation Island.
It's this family. They're from Canada. They're super Canadian. They say like process and like they're in
water closet.
It turns out they're actually very successful because I googled them. They're worth a lot of money. They buy this dilapidated. Is it dilapidated or dilapidated? Dilapidated. They buy this dilapidated coastal hotel in the Bahamas for $2 million. They think they're going to put $3 million. They think they're going to have it ready in 4 months. We're 13 months into this process. They haven't, they're not even ready to open up yet. But they have a whole this Bahama crew, and they're renovating it and everything. And it's cool to just watch them like invest all of their life savings into. But what happened is they don't know this. It's like watching a train wreck happen because they don't know that the pandemic's going to wipe them out for another year. So we're watching it from last year, and they're about ready to open up. But if I went on their Instagram and found out that as soon as they were ready to open up, they spent like $10 million over what their budget was. That the pandemic.
Really? I thought that they got open before that. I didn't realize it was
they
so
might
close.
have, but how many $700 night suites can you sell before you get shut down for a year? Because the
Bahamas is open though.
No, the Bahamas.
No, you have to quarantine. I looked into it because trust. I'm like, I got money. I need to travel. I got to do something. I think we can only go to Mexico.
But if you just quarantine for 14 days, then. It's chill,
I know, but
right?
I just want to go for like 5. Okay. I'm not trying to be spending all my money in the Bahamas.
But yeah, I know the dude who does the excursions with the pigs, the floating pigs, and the Exuma
pigs.
The swimming pigs. Where do they float to, right? Anyway, and he's on Facebook being like, "Oh, let us open already," because that's not necessarily a political thing. People just have to choose between, is this going to kill me or will going broke kill me in a different way? You know what I mean? That's a whole separate issue that we don't have to deal with because we're just kind of hanging tight. We're lucky not to be business owners like that on that level.
So where are they now? Like, are they okay? Is the hotel
Well, look, this family's, they're the highest. It was called the Island of Brian. That was the name of the Canadian version of it. So we're watching Renovation Island, but for our Canadian listeners, it was called Island of Brian. But they're just a good-looking couple with 3 kids. I'm always thinking about how they fuck.
Oh, their last name. Is that what you're saying?
Baumholler is like their last name or something like that.
Oh.
Something.
Brian? Why is it called Brian?
That's his name. It's Brian.
Oh.
Isn't that his name?
His first name?
Yeah. Anyway, I'll never know the names, but we're watching it. But they got it. They're going to be fine. They're worth a lot of money. But every single thing that could have gone wrong went wrong, and they're just like dealing with it as a family. And it's like, I don't know, it's cool. It's cool to watch. But we have the holy grail of TV right now. My only problem is if Darren moved to Texas, whenever he stops paying his California cable bill, we're going to lose it. You know what I mean?
Not necessarily.
Unless he might transfer it over, right?
Oh, but I think he said they have the Google Fiber there. So you're right.
You better watch it up, buttercups. Watch it up.
Listen, this is all we have at this point. We've got HGTV in an unlimited amount of time. But we're hanging in there. We're hanging in there. How can people, we have to start getting out of here because the sun went down, so we're going to lose some light. But we've got your book here. And by the way, Unfuckwithable, you might have the best table of contents here. You've got say yes more, especially if it scares the shit out of you. I mean, you have some really shut the fuck up sometimes. That's a good one. Is that something that your boyfriends have told you? You just need to shut the fuck up sometimes.
So if somebody tells me to do it, that's a hard no.
Yeah.
It's like when we tell ourselves
sometimes I know it's in my best interest to just shut the fuck up.
I mean, honestly, I feel like these, like what's marriage should never be your end destination. What's that all about?
Well, I was married at one time for 3 years in my 20s, and I think that a lot of people are like looking for marriage without really knowing who they are. So that whole chapter is really about learning how to love yourself and be alone with yourself and be whole as a person instead of just looking for someone else to complete you.
Yeah, well, people's identity is wrapped around
other people,
yeah. Or even their family, where it's like, I had a kid, so now that's my life. And it's like, well, I think the kid will benefit the most if it has a mom or a dad that's like
doing what they love.
Yeah, doing what they love. Not just being just angry because, the tater tot, whatever it is, like I'm very specifically talking about my sister. But my sister, they had 4 kids and I get it. It's like they're still young, so like that's her life. But like I just want her to go out and take a dancing class or something. She does nothing that's not completely wrapped around 4 children. And like, I get it. Like if you have kids, that's what you do.
And for some people, that is their dream. That is their passion, but not for everyone. And so I think the moral of the story is, be comfortable with yourself as an individual. And you don't have to think of marriage as the end goal. Like you said, I think especially you said you were married in your 20s. Like when you're younger, you sort of think like, oh, I'll get married, I'll have kids, we'll grow up happily ever after, the end. And like that's it. No, you've got 50 more years.
I've got lots of things to do.
I like that you are not your job. What's that all about?
Identity again.
Again, identity. But it's I used all of these examples because I've gone through them. So this book is like literally my stories in this. When I got wrapped up in my identity as the lead singer of Neon Love Life, and we were like the #1 band in Indianapolis. We had the cover of the Nouveau. Our record was number 1.
It's a great title.
It was an all-female band, and I was the one that was like, okay, I ordered 1,000 T-shirts. We're gonna tour. We're gonna do all the things, and then I was the pusher. Nobody had the same vision as me, as far as like being in rock and just touring. And we broke up. So I was I was in bed for days just crying my face off. But it's like, we're not our jobs. And even like the jobs that we have every day, like, when I used to do social media, all like the online marketing for Crackers Comedy Club, that's not my identity. But yes, the entire book is basically finding out who the fuck you are and stop like using these excuses. Well, I'm working at McDonald's. Well, I fucking worked at McDonald's. It was great. I got to say good morning to the people every morning. I was the first person that they got to see, so I could help someone have a good day.
That's a great way to look at that.
Yeah, it's like changing your thought process and
your perspective.
Now, what you focus on expands.
I never miss an opportunity to bring gender into the conversation. What's the main difference being in a all-male band, except for you, versus an all-female band?
I get along, I think, better with guys. I have some really great female friends, but I'm like a guy. I think like a guy. I mean, I've had people tell me this. Like, I'm just like, I don't know. I'm not so petty. I think females can be petty. Oh,
like, what do you got over there? Is it a
somebody's 25th birthday?
Is it? Oh, we got the whole fucking world's coming to an end here. Is he in a jetpack?
No, I was like, what is that out of the corner of my eye?
Is it David Blaine going by in a
balloon?
balloon?
Los Angeles.
Oh, those are expensive. There's like
they are expensive. Those are like $13.
They are.
5 foot tall letters or numbers or whatever.
That's funny. Okay. Anyway, I forgot what we were.
Someone's really pissed right now.
Oh, but being in a male, I love it. I'm taken care of. I'm like the little sister.
That's great.
And yeah, I learned so much from them. So.
No, I mean, I feel like a lot of people say, like, I just get along better with guys than girls. And I don't hear it the other way where, fuck, man, I only chill with women, I'm not trying to make a case for guys. We're obviously pieces of shit.
That's an interesting thing because I have sort of always identified that way as well. And I think it stems from insecurity. I don't know. I hate like when it almost feels anti-feminist to be like, I'm not like other girls.
You're right. And I'm like sitting here thinking, and I'm like, I've got some really dope female best friends. Yes.
Yeah, but I really think it's about finding your finding your tribe. And like some people you just vibe with better than others, guys and girls. There's plenty of dudes that like we know that I just like kind of have to grit my teeth and roll my eyes the whole time we're around them. And there's girls that I feel that way about, but there are girls that are like, we really have the same sort of outlook and perspective, and we're chill or we're both uptight or whatever. Yeah, like there's some people that you vibe with and there's some people that you don't vibe with.
So you say vibe
with both genders.
Yeah, that's good.
I look at it this way. Like we were in Michigan, on the pontoon boat. We're all hanging out. Can you hang? If you can't hang, it doesn't matter your gender, age, none of that matters. If you can hang, and by hang, that's kind of just like a general term. But like, are you an energy suck?
Are you kind?
Or
are you
cool?
funny?
Yeah. Are you a vampire? And also, are you one-upping everybody? Like, shut up. I don't want to hear like if I tell a story, I don't want to hear a one-up.
Oh, I'm a one-upper. I got to work on that.
I have to. Well, and I sometimes am too. So
sometimes I'm a poor conversationalist. Like sometimes I just wish that I was like better at going with the flow.
Oh, there's a whole group of people right now. Like I face my fair share of criticism because I'll get excited, have an espresso, and be like, "Let me tell you about my day. Sit down, Lindsay. I'm going to talk to you." And I gotta be like, "Okay, now how about you?" Oh, we're out of time. Gotta go. But yeah,
basically the whole first 300 episodes of this podcast was Dave just talking over me.
Well,
you've gotten better.
Oh, thank you so much. Appreciate that. I try my best. I really do. It's not easy. But yeah, it's about hanging. It's about it's really an energy thing. It's weird that it feels like spiritual to say, but like there is a difference. Like I grew up Catholic, although my mom is very spiritual, but like stand up on stage, you're just trying to read people's energy. You're just trying to be like, are we cool? Are we, it feels like a war zone until the whole audience collectively decides they're on your side, and I'm sure in a band, you tell me, but like, you probably get the benefit of the doubt. Like at what point did you feel like you transitioned from having to prove yourself as a band to people being there wanting to see you?
Well, I'm grateful because the band that I'm in was already established. They already had 2 gold records. So what was good is that the fans took me in because the original bassist had been with them for 15 years. And so now this new girl is coming in. But they were very receptive to me. So I didn't really have to. It's all good.
Yeah.
But I got lucky, right?
Well, now you're in Bass Player Magazine. Is that what it's called? Bass Player Magazine?
Bass Player Magazine.
Bass Player There's a magazine. I didn't know that was a magazine.
Yeah.
What's
There's all kinds of magazines, like guitar magazines and bass magazines.
Well, you'll have to send us the spread because we'll post it on the social media. Yeah. And we're going to be out of light, so we got to get going. But come back anytime. We only cracked the surface, so we have so many questions we didn't even get to. But I liked where we went. I didn't know we'd get. So I didn't know we'd talk about so much spirituality, but I love it.
That's my favorite thing to talk about. So actually, you guys should read the book, and then I'll come back in a couple weeks, and then we'll just nail some shit out.
Well, I'm gonna get my color highlighter, and I'll get a blue highlighter, you get a pink highlighter, and we'll just mark up some thoughts on it. But I'm excited based on the table of contents alone because it's nice to you see these books that are like there used to be this such like PC kind of like vanilla bread thing, and then Mark Manson comes out with his book like what's his book called? That fuck something about not giving a fuck. You know that book?
I forget what it
is. The subtle art of not giving a fuck.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, oh, cool, you can say fuck on a book cover. That's cool. And then yours has just like random badassery here throughout the title that I'm going to be excited. Now, do you recommend reading it obviously from beginning? I might have to just jump chapter to chapter here because we have some good ones.
Yeah, you can. They're pretty short chapters. It's a quick read. You can get through that bad boy in probably 2.5 hours. I'm actually recording the audiobook on Tuesday.
Oh, nice.
So I booked 4 hours. I'm hoping that I can nail it out in 4 hours.
Yeah, you should drink LaCroix. I'm sorry. I was
not LaCroix.
I was
lemon
alcohol.
water.
No, the what's the White Claw? That's what you should have. Just get wasted by the end of it.
That would not be
29. Take a deep breath.
My words. No, I'm like, yeah.
Chapter 36. Life is fucking magical.
And this is why. And the chapter is like the left lane is for passing, so get the fuck over.
Oh, we're soul sisters. Oh,
that is all Tasha
that
cares
is the hill
about.
I will die on. It is.
I try to make these blogs for her.
Well, there's a chapter for you, baby girl. Chapter for you.
Every time we try to record like a blog while we're driving, it's just Tasha yelling at the left lane drivers.
Get the fuck over! I really, they make those like vanity license plates that are like red backwards, or you can get like LED screens. Like ambulance has the word ambulance printed backwards. I want to be like, move over, printed backwards on the front of my car. And a spoiler.
From the book Unfuckwithable, A Guide to Inspired Badassery, Chapter 32, the left lane is for passing, so please get the fuck over. All right? You heard it here first. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. And social media and anything else you want to promote so people can go follow you?
Yeah, LindsayManfredi.com is my website, and it takes you to my Shopify account to where you can buy the book. And if you buy it from me, signed copies, and I mail them out myself.
And you'll get those in 2 years because the postal service.
No, I just since I've been here, I mailed one to Switzerland, and she just popped me a little message the other day and said she got it, and it only took like 2 weeks. So that's impressive.
We just sent 22 postcards to our Patreon members, so shout out to them. Patreon.com/thesap, patreon.com/thesap. But they arrived in England before Vic got hers in Los Angeles.
That's
so
crazy.
I don't know. And then someone with these postcards were just like a photo, but like someone like took a photo and showed it to me, and the postcard was like destroyed.
It was Boulder Laura.
Hers had dents on it, but so did this guy Daniel, and someone else had dents on it. And I'm like, what the fuck's going on over there?
They're down to one sorting machine, and it must just be over.
It needs to be oiled or something. It's just like all like. Anyway, thank you so much for coming on. We're gonna go through it, and then we'll have you back on.
Hell yeah!
Thank you again, Lindsay Manfredi, everyone. And yeah, anything else you want to promote, Tasha?
No.
You're just trying to get people out of the left lane. PSA. You guys
share with your friends.
I've never seen Tasha immediately like hardcore bond with someone over that. Anyway, that's the episode. That's the sap. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
So many.
It's a 3.
It's a different one. It's the same. SAP. Oh, nice.
We're best friends now.
You'll catch me coasting in the left lane.
It's like, yo, somebody's behind us.
That country.